Okay, so this is how to replace the lock actuator on a Toyota Caldina GTT and really any Toyota. So in the past few days, I actually did this to my MR2, so I knew this would work. Basically, the motor was seized, so I thought it would be the same in this car because only this door didn't work. So first step is to take all the door trim off, just unscrew this hook, unhook it and then unscrew it. There's Nash pretending to do it because we had already done it without me recording. You then take the surround off and it's pretty easy. You then take these hooks out the side, so you got to unscrew them, then you use a trim tool to pop them out. There's 4 of them, so 3 on the front and 1 on the back. Not hard. You then pop the door trim off, this little armrest part, you just pull it up basically, and then you make sure you unclick the electrical stuff. There's 2 more screws, just this one and the one on the right. They're really long, so just take those out. Then you can next pop the door off. You got to give it a bit of force, but be careful not to break it. Cool, so once that's out of the way, here's some stock wiring in the door, other than just the tape. So you're just going to need to get that silicone off the edge on the left side. So you've seen those 2 holes in the door, that's where the motor is located. I think I'll show you, just on the left there. So basically the motor's in here. All those metal poles actually attach in, and you need to undo some clips that are all connected as well as the wire one. We got stuck and couldn't undo one of the clips, so we just took out the motor from the thing. And then you use this torque bit, it's a VT30, I think that's what it says, just to undo these 3, but don't get them fully undone, just loosen them for now, and then do it later. Alright, you can see my beautiful MR2 in the back, but see that purple clip right at the back? That's one of the things, so you need to unhook it and then pull the pole out. It's a bit hard to explain, but I show a video of us sort of doing it to one that's visible. You can use this tool or your hand or a screwdriver. Your hand is honestly easiest. This is probably the next easiest if you have one. So here's Nash showing us how to do it. So basically you unclip it. You'll see in a sec. Unclip. It's a really bad video, sorry. But it unclips and then you see like that, and then you pull it out of the hole. And then you simply put it back in the hole and clip that part back on later. So you can see in this video, we've taken that one out of the purple one. Then there's 2 more to do. They're up at the top, and they're the 2 ones that connect to the actual lock. I believe they're yellow and green, but it's not the yellow one there. It's a yellow one closer to the front of the door. There we go. You'll see it in 1 second. Just these yellow and green ones on the left-hand side, right there. So that's what the next 2 you'll be undoing. Make sure you know which one goes in what. The straight one goes in the bottom basically, so that's the yellow one is the straighter one that's underneath the top one. So we ended up undoing these 2 nuts, this one here and the one to the left of the bottom, not the one above. That just takes out the bracket, but we actually couldn't get the whole bracket out, we just had to get the motor out. So then we undid 2 more screws that were connected. So as you can see, those 3 on the left are undone, and then those 2 are now undone. So here we realized there's actually a 4th one connected, and we could not undo it. We couldn't pull it out. We could undo the clip, that part I was pointing to, but we couldn't pull it out. So that's why we ended up just unscrewing the motor from the whole thingy. And then Nash took it out without me recording. But yeah, as you can see, it's those 2 screws that he's pointing to were connected inside on the bracket that he just touched. He just did it when I wasn't there. Basically, we couldn't figure out how to open it, and I found a video that said you just have to cut the whole thing. It does destroy the lining, but you can hot glue gun it back together or glue it, whatever. You just have to press really hard. This took us probably an hour to just cut on and off. Took a very long time. So I recorded the wrong way, but there you go. You see us cracking it open. Took a very long time, but the motor was corroded. Mine on my MR2 wasn't corroded, it was just seized. This one was absolutely ruined. All we did was pry it off. It is connected to 2 prongs underneath, so you do need to be careful. Luckily, ours weren't broken. It was completely fine. So we use this spray and lube just to try clean it off, and you can actually see the prongs at the bottom there. They were in really good shape, but there's the disgusting motor. We just pulled it up, basically. And then we had a new spare motor. That they're like $10 from Jaycar or anywhere online. They fit most Toyotas because this is the exact same thing as my Lexus as well. It's very similar to my MR2, but not the same. There's the two motors side by side, the new one, and we tested that the new one worked. All we had to do was put the old like spinny extension onto this one, and it was all fine. We put it back together but didn't glue it just to test it worked, and it worked, and it was really good. You can see it clicking there. Yeah, so next thing we did was lube it up. We used some grease just because we had wiped some off. But there's the motor. You can see the two prongs in the top that are holes, and the other side goes into it. But yeah, then we hot glue gunned the corners because we were really worried that it was going to get stuck inside. So we just did the corners for then and tested it again. So there's the lube that we used, the rubber grease. Just chucked it on top on both sides. We know this isn't going to last forever, but we're happy to do it again. At least it didn't cost another $150 to fix. But we just cleaned everything off and then hot glue gunned the corners, and then we actually hot glue gunned the outside, so at least it was sort of sealed again. As you can see, there's us just pressing it together for the corners, and yeah. We kept testing it at every part that we would do something different just in case it broke, so we were worried the glue was going to be inside. So we tested it again and it worked fine. So then we hot glue gunned the corners, all the outsides, did a couple, like 2 layers. It doesn't look the best, but it doesn't really matter as long as it's sealed. That hole on top, we found water was going through, so we sealed that off, which we wasn't sure if it was good to do, but we did it. There's it working again, and there's us gluing it entirely. And it was done. We put it all back together. Wasn't too hard, just do the reverse. And then it worked. So first time in 3 years since Nash has had this car that it worked. And here is it working. So we did have to hold the door sensor shut because it doesn't work when one door's open. And it works with the button now, which is pretty crazy. Can't promise this will work for every car, but it worked for my MR2 and the Caldina, so probably is good for Toyotas. I don't know.